Pod Candy!
A podcast about cults, crimes, and killers. Today, we're taking a closer look at Teal Swan, a spiritual influencer who calls herself a healer, but who's been accused of leading something that looks a lot like a cult.
Her teachings, especially around suicide, have sparked outrage, and her inner circle is anything but ordinary. The docuseries, The Deep End, gives us an unprecedented view into her world.
We're going to unpack how the series portrays her, how she crafts her image, and why so many people are drawn in.
And we'll talk about the psychology of control, the red flags of manipulation, and what this story tells us about belief and vulnerability.
This is The Deep End.
Outside my window, it's only raining. When the wind blows, I feel pain. I don't need no doctor, baby, I'm not sick. My body's been locked up, heartbroken ever since.
Okay, Dori.
Yo.
So this was your pick. I want to
Yeah.
hear some initial thoughts from you on Teal Swan, who I had never heard of until you brought her up. And I just want to hear some initial things that you took away from it so that we can get into it.
Yeah, so I had never heard about her either, except for our mutual friend Margaret had said years ago, oh my gosh, you would love this documentary about Teal Swan. And I forgot about it. I was like, okay, whatever. And then we were all going to do this podcast about manifestation.
Correct.
Because per our last episode, we talked a little bit about it, and the doctor had never really heard of it. So I started going through a research manifestation, deep dive, and found this YouTube video where she was really plugging her book, but there were a good 22 minutes where she talked about manifesting and the fact that Teal Swan has some controversial views on manifestation. So I was like, wait, Teal Swan. So that's why I found this documentary. And personally, I'm glad that we're doing this because I found the whole thing fascinating. We're going to get into it.
Yes.
But initially, from the moment that this woman, Teal Swan, is getting her hair dyed by one of her inner circle members, to the blatant narcissism and overall control of all of these people, Stacey, I was hooked from beginning to end.
You know, it's interesting. We're finding a lot more of these people who claim to be, she goes all over the place. I'm not the savior of this, but yet I need to approve of everything. It's just sort of hypocritical. Like, when it suits me, it works out. She claims this man, Blake, who she had a year-long relationship with as in a couple relationship. And then when they broke up, they continued living together, despite her having 5 marriages. So, and she has a child as well. Feels kind of strange to have this guy hanging around, but she said he was her family. He's her family. So she has this inner circle of people that become the people that take care of her. You need to help me. You need to make sure my image is good. You need to do this and this and this. So I found it interesting that she was so confident and so arrogant.
Yeah.
about what she believed. But yet, why was she so afraid? Why
Yeah.
was she so afraid?
Well, basically, so Teal Swan is this woman who I guess has been out there like on YouTube, and she goes around to, do these like live audience, performances. Well, it is a performance,
It
but
is a
she
performance. I agree.
basically like is a healer, so she found that through some therapy, she thinks that she was abused as a young girl and is now trying to help others kind of like, well, one, get through their past, where she really like self-diagnoses a lot of these people having child trauma, when that is very up in the air. There's no proof of that, but that's kind of like what she is telling everybody to get through the trauma and to kind of like live in your own life. And part of that is about these people that seek her out are people on the edge. Like, they are suicidal. They are very unhappy with their lives. And she has become a guru to them. And she charges, like, maybe it's more now, but like $5,000 to visit her and take part in these sessions where supposedly she is going to help heal them and make them feel better.
Our world is facing some incredible challenges, and what I love about Teal Swan is she gets right to the heart of the matter.
I felt like she was there for me. Like, I have almost all of her books, and I've seen like a lot of her videos. I take notes on everything.
We drove 3 hours, starting 1 a.m., then flew 3 hours. The airplane landed about 20 minutes before we got here. So
like, it's so straightforward. Yeah. She lays it all out. Everything we're doing in our family is by the book, following exactly what Teal says, and it works.
She helped my grandma heal. It was like, now my little sister's brought into it. Yeah. It's like her mission to like heal us all.
She is not a she's not a medical professional.
She's no training.
The doctor is going to have a lot to say about that. And it's hard to watch. It's infuriating to watch, but it's also fascinating because all these people think that she is like like a cult leader, like a demigod. She has all the answers. It's gross.
It is. And what I don't like and what makes me feel very uncomfortable is when somebody comes in and they're very vulnerable and she asks them a question about their life and they can't really answer it. And she just sort of like pokes at them. And, these people that have these, that are these cult leaders, first of all, they're always attractive, as Dr. John said. But here we have this woman who's very beautiful. People are attracted to her and she sort of sets them up. And there was that guy, Amir. He admitted he was attracted to her. And then she goes up and she's like, he's attracted to me and he doesn't know anything. He's not in touch with it. I just felt like he was being exploited. And meanwhile, she is the biggest phony, biting her nails. You know what I mean? Hiding away. And that's when, Blake's wife it was like the Whoopi Goldberg, like she was the mother. She was Amir's mother coming through Juliana. She was sort of the conduit or the whatever for the mother to come through, and everyone just believes it and accepts it.
What we're going to be doing is what I call channeling. You're using your body as a vessel for a specific energy. You can do it with people that are living, you can do it with people that are dead, you can do it with anything. So if I bring in your dead mother, that's actually your dead mother, you guys. I'm working literally with her thought form. It's an incredibly dangerous process. It's also one of the most powerful tools that has ever existed. So ask her if she will choose with her free will to go into, and then you have to say your mother's full name.
Do you, with your free will, choose the consciousness of Talit Bajwa?
Yes.
I just want to spend some time with you, Mom.
I saw him in a really bad condition.
You are, Mom.
And I feel so guilty and full of shame because of that.
Do you feel like you're stuck anywhere? Or
Yes.
Where are you stuck?
I don't know. It's just dark, kind of. It's just dark. I feel like.
She hasn't completely crossed.
So sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, Mom. I love you so much.
You just think about whether there's anything you feel like you need to say that will release her.
Bob, you can go. You can go. I love you.
She went.
And it upsets me because, again, these vulnerable people that are, some are suicidal, some come in and they say, I don't know if I should live or die. And then she says something flippant and very matter of fact, well, what do you think? It's just this arrogant, entitled bullshit. And you know, whether or not she helps people or whether or not they think she's helping them, still it's unhealthy. And I wish these people would get called out. I really do. You know, I did enjoy watching it. I mean, I did enjoy it because it's fascinating to watch these people sort of, you know, believe her. And this was a documentary. Was she the person who asked it to be filmed?
So I don't know if she asked for it, but she knew she was a full
she knew.
She let the camera crews into
She did.
her and her inner circle's lives for years. Like they did this over a long period of time, but now she's claiming that the edit was to hurt her rather than put her in a good light, and a lot of the things that they show in the deep end is misleading. You know, most people who are on a reality TV show or on a documentary that don't like the edit or don't like the how they're portrayed always say it's in the editing. Oh, they edited it bad.
It's in the edit. They edited that part out. By the way, I loved Molly, the private investigator.
From what I have learned from the people who have left the organization, we appear to be running into some big red flags. And then I was given a document that I was shocked that they were shared with me, which is called the non-negotiables. And this is a list of the things that people have to agree to if they're going to be part of this inner circle. You can't put your own family first. The Teal has to come first. If she wants you there, she gets you. The priority of the entire community is whatever's in the best interests of Teal. Everything else is second to that. You can't have personal boundaries that have in any way an effect on Teal. Your life is not going to even remotely resemble normal. If you want to have a normal life, do not choose to be part of the inner circle. And it goes on.
You could tell she was very upset at the end when she was talking to Teal. And of course, Teal didn't hear what she wanted to hear. She wanted to hear that she was brilliant, not a cult leader, not pushing people towards suicide.
So here's the deal. Does she cause suicide? Is she a cult? No, maybe. And I wanted you to hear that from me before I start writing this up, that your non-negotiable list kind of solidified that for me.
Okay.
And I need to delve deeper into that honestly.
Let's do it then.
Attempts to isolate from existing close relationships, friends and family, cut family ties. You alluded to that earlier on, if you're going to be here, you're going to have to limit your relationships.
That's not what I said. No, I totally the opposite. Totally the opposite of that. You're stepping into a territory that really frustrates me, and I literally don't know what the answer is, because anything that causes people pain is my interest to find a solution to those things.
It's her delivery too.
She's just a bitch.
Yeah, you mentioned, well, I love the fact that when you texted me when you would watch it, you're like, I hate her. In the text.
I hate her.
That made me laugh. So I don't necessarily know if I hate her, but I think I texted Margaret, who first brought her up to me, like, I find her amazing and completely terrifying. And I think you brought up, like, Amir, the fact that she really leads with her sexuality, and she wants it. It was very apparent with Blake, who she had dated many years ago, who is still following her at this time, still a part of the quote unquote inner circle. That as soon as he gets that girlfriend, Juliana, she gets you can tell she's very jealous, she's upset. But I'm not gonna lie, like I say about all of these murderers, these cult leaders, I'm not gonna lie, she's attractive, she's bangable. Like she's bangable. I get why they're all mesmerized by her and why they follow her.
They all want to fuck her, basically. There's this thing with her hair pulled to the side, this sort of posing with this. She does exude that sexuality and then blames people for feeling sexually attracted to her. It's like, well, what do you want? What do you expect? Amir was the saddest one for me. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I adore that guy. And I just felt so bad for him. And also that woman that said, I don't like you, I want to get out. And then I think her name was Jillian.
I'm sure you already know that I attempted suicide in January. I don't know if you know that. And I can't do this anymore. It's like, I've never been, like, the last 6 years. Yeah.
Look, I know it sucks, but here's the thing. It's my intention that you feel better. Right? I want you to feel better. I want you to walk out this door feeling better. But the reality is that most adults today, yourself included, are living an inauthentic life. Things fall apart because they were not true to you.
Is my life better now? I don't feel that it is.
That's
but
the thing.
I want to ask you.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It is better?
Actually, yes.
That's bullshit.
And then they ended up, I don't know what that pool thing is. They're dunking her under the water. What is that? Is that a baptism?
That's what I thought. Kind of like a baptism of, so they call it like the Teal tribe, those that follow her. So maybe that's kind of like part of the process what is this name? Teal Swan. Is this like affected? Like she's so affected. Is that, what is that? Is that her name? Teal Swan? Yeah, but I don't think that that's her real name. I don't not her born. Yeah, I don't think that that's her born given name. But I also, I found it, and I think the doctor, when we let him out of his little cubby hole, we can talk about this. But I guess back in the 70s, there was this book, before Teal Swan, there was this book called Michelle Remembers. And it was all about the satanic panic. Well, that's what started this, the satanic panic, where like Teal, there's like all these, she claims that when she was a child, there were these rituals that she went through where she was, as a very young girl, raped and molested by these adults, even though her parents say that that's absolutely false. And one of her Teal's inner circle members, her, I guess, like executive assistant or something like that, she also claims through the whole Teal process that she also was a victim of these ritualistic abuses where, you know, she and other kids were put on a table where there's fire on the table, like to burn them, sexually abuse them, which is horrific. Like, let me just say this. If it happened, of course, we are extremely empathetic and this is disgusting and terrible. But how do you prove that this is a reality? I think this may be a good time maybe to bring in the doctor.
Yeah, because I don't know what he thinks of this. I have no idea what he thinks of this. And, you know, I guess the only takeaway I got from it is, yes, if she was abused that way, whether or not, whatever her trauma is really dangerous. And also to call that stuff out and not have it be true is just really gross.
It would be really, but maybe she believes it. Maybe she believes it from.
That's the thing. From all of that crap they're doing with people with this meditation and hypnotherapy or whatever she's doing, she can convince them of anything. So I'm curious to see what Dr. John thinks of that. Should we let him out of the green room?
Yeah, let him out of his little cubby hole.
Okay, come on, John.
May I come out now?
Sure, you may come out.
Hey, I have to say, the new addition to the green room, this ice drink.
Oh, what kind is that?
This is my favorite, grapefruit. It's really good.
Oh, you like grapefruit flavor? Oh, wait, you know what? I drink Fresca, which is grapefruit citrus.
Maybe we get a commercial break. I forget who makes this. I don't know. But
sparkling ice.
They could be one of our sponsors.
They could be our sponsor, plus Fresca, who,
and
you know.
Chocolate chip cookies, fresh. A lot of chocolate in them.
That's a little bit. I felt like Stacey and I were a little bit like Teal Swan, where we allowed you to come into the conversation because we rule the roost.
I'm a follower.
Yes, you're allowed to come into the conversation.
You're part of the Teal tribe. You're part of the
inner circle.
Stacey Dori tribe.
Well, and thank you for allowing me to come out of the closet. Interesting phrase. Early. Because I have a lot of reactions and a lot to say about this. And first of all, before I get into I always like to start with my emotional reaction to these situations. But before that, I didn't think this was a very good documentary. And I wanted to hear more about what created this monster. How, you know, her background, her parenting, etc. They just touched on it. But then again, I thought that's why people are coming to our podcast. We're really going to go deep, excuse the pun, on issues. And so it's our job to go deeper than some of these documentaries. But, and as opposed to both of you, I really had a hard time watching this. To me, it was like one of these creepy reality show kind of presentations where these people's lives were just so plastic and so phony that I just was like, this is just tedious to get through, especially 4 episodes. But anyway, which leads me to my emotional reaction. I just felt sadness. I just had this overwhelming sadness for the people involved, this Teal, because I think this Teal Swan was a very damaged young lady when she was a kid. Had clueless parents that she said took her to all kinds of psychiatrists and therapists, and they weren't helping. And she didn't sound like a mentally ill child. She sounded like a precocious kid, kind of a lot of energy. Parents couldn't handle her. So, and then they give her to this guy to live with, and at 6 years of age. I mean, what parent goes, and the way it was portrayed in the documentary is my parents, this guy came along and said, well, I can help her if you allow me to live with her, to live with me. It's like, what craziness is this? And predictably, this guy rapes her and abuses her. Treats her like a captive until I think she escapes at 16 years of age. But that was, to me, this is, and here's where the sadness is, especially as a mental health practitioner. This is a failure of our mental health system. This is a child that needed better guidance, better parenting advice from somebody. And these parents, are all over the place.
It sounds like you have definitely bought into that, like that you are taking that for truth. I still, just because of who I saw Teal Swan is, I don't know if that is a true story or not. And again, if it is, oh my gosh, absolutely terrible. At like Stacey had said, for somebody to say that and it not be true. But I really don't know, because she talks about, and in doing that research too, like she goes to these therapists after that satanic panic that opened the door. That is that true, or did a quote unquote therapist put that into her brain, and that gives her cred to now be who she is now and making all this money and being a self-healer?
Well, Dori, that's an excellent point. And I didn't even think of that. I thought it was the documentarians that talked about the history. I didn't think she could have been narrating at that point and saying, this is what happened when I was a child. But I thought it was the documentary people that talked about it as if it was fact. But listening to you guys from the green room, I never got the impression that it was maybe made up or part of these, past lives BS therapy that was out there for a while. So that's a good point. It could very well be her manifestation of something, and she's using it as her, credential, so to speak, that I've been through this.
Well, it's the trauma dumping, it's like
Yeah.
now, but you relate the trauma you have, and then the person can become vulnerable because they hear you talking about your trauma, and then you relate, and then all of a sudden all of a sudden this person understands me.
Well, and that's why I say, to me, the theme of our episode here is the failure of mental health, because it doesn't just pervade to the Teal Swan story. As you both hinted at earlier, we had this movement some years ago where regressive therapy, where you were going into past lives and conjuring up, everybody was abused by their parents. There was a theme of that in this documentary. Then this whole thing of you have to relive the trauma, and we saw these painful episodes, these people crying and confronting their parents who abused them. And all of this stuff, by the way, has been banned by the American Psychological Association and the American Psychiatric Association as techniques that are harmful, abusive, and not to be used. One of the other names out there, which we saw in the documentary, was primal scream therapy, where you're supposed to, get almost into a fetal position and just scream your pain away. And it's been proven to do more damage than good to have a person go through this. But of course, as you both adroitly pointed out, this Teal has no training in anything, is not using her techniques on any scientific basis. And in fact, that's the other problem I have with her, is that there are scenes where she's doing these tantric things, and the sage, swiping of a room, and frog poison she puts on her assistant to purge her of her trauma. And it's almost like a mishmash of BS that she saw on the internet or something like that, with no cohesive structure. I mean, if in Native American religions and beliefs, there's at least some structure to what's happening, and it could possibly work. This is a hodgepodge of just stuff.
So, what do you feel about the fact that, she makes a ton of money? I mean, I don't know her finances, allegedly. I would assume she makes a lot of money. by these people who, as we've talked about other cults in the past, they're desperate. Like, people are desperate. And like you said, she is not a licensed therapist. But and the deep end came out in 2022, and to this day, she has tons of followers still to this day. So I don't know, like, what does that speak to our society and like people like you that went to school for this to help people, and she's helping people without a degree and just going around and saying the stuff she says and people follow her?
Well, a couple of things. Let me address, you have two comments there. One I want to address, which is the last thing about what do I think about people with no training that are out there pretending to help people. Let me get to that. But I had to laugh when there was two segments on the documentary where she's with this group of people, and she asks, how many people, raise of hands, please, how many people are in pain? Well, everybody in the audience raised their hand. Well, of course, they're coming here because they have pain. So to answer your question, Dori, she attracts people that are really in distress, which is the sadness of it, because these people need real help, not Teal Swan to just give these, I call them hand-holding kind of techniques and this confrontative technique, which I want to get to in a little later. But you also mentioned, I think this is a good point, especially early on in our podcasts here, about my philosophies. I don't have a problem with people who feel that they are getting better or it improves their lives if they're following somebody who has integrity and is meaningful and is a helper. It could be a friend, it could be a relative, a parent who helps them get through some things, and they don't have to have a degree, or I don't have any ego investment in that, whoever helps the person have a good life, God bless them, but when we confront people that are doing this on such a large scale and with so many people that are in pain and have killed themselves as a result of their techniques, then I have a problem with it. These are not people that should advertise this. Which brings me to the point of the reaction towards Teal. I think this is a damaged individual who becomes a leader. People are attracted to leaders that somehow are damned. We have one in the White House right now. But, we've had Hitler throughout the ages. We had Mussolini. We have all kinds of leaders that were psychiatrically and psychologically damaged, but there's a charisma to it. And if you forgive me, I have 30 seconds of a personal story that Teal reminded me of. In my early days, much early days, even though I'm only 39, the audience doesn't know that, but my colleagues know that's a joke. But in my dating days, and one of the women that was kind of in our friend circle that I hung around with reminded me a lot of Teal Swan. She even looked like Teal Swan. Attractive, but not conventionally model kind of attractive. There was a very sexual attractiveness to this woman, just like Teal Swan. And she had a lot of the same characteristics. She was controlling. She was manipulative. She was dogmatic. She would say, this is the way you got to be. This is just the way you got to be. I was totally turned off, even though this woman tried to date me. I was totally turned off by this woman, because it was like, this is a firestorm of a thing. But to a lot of the guys in our circle, they fawned over this woman because of that control, because of that candor. She would speak up and say, no, this is the way you should be. No, don't do that. And again, this sexuality that is hypocritical, because why are these men just sexually attracted to me when she's got her, like Stacey said, her hair, this beautiful hair kind of flowing down one side. She's always got a slit dress and sitting with, you could almost look up her skirt every time she sits in the documentary, you know. And that's how this woman was.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's how this woman was. She was
No, it was.
almost exuded sexuality. I'll be honest, I was attracted sexually, I'd say. As Dori would say, I would do her, but then I'd run for the hills. You know?
Head for Z Hills and make sure she doesn't have a baby or something.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, babe, whatever happened to this woman's baby? It's never mentioned.
She has a son, and he was like outside jumping
on the trampoline.
They just didn't want to show him, I think, you know, for his sake.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
The doc. Yeah.
That's another question I had. Early on in the docuseries, she goes, you know, and I had a child, but there's no mention of the child, you know, or whatever happened to that kid, you know.
Yeah, the child was definitely there. The child was as elusive as your age, Doctor.
Yes, the child was as elusive as your age. It's good.
Oh, everybody knows my age now, 39, you know. Going
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 38, so and Dori's 37. Yeah, all of that stuff, you know, that is extremely familiar to me. I mean, I had a situation, like I told you on one of the other episodes we did, about, you know, somebody using their sexuality, but not intending to use their sexuality to attract to something. It's that Think and Grow Rich bullshit, that book, you know, that teaches you how to manifest money, which gets us back to the manifestation.
Excuse me for interrupting, Stacey.
No, you didn't.
Brings me to the use of sexuality. You could see it throughout the docuseries. She used her sexuality to draw people in.
Yeah.
And whether it was the larger audience or these individual inner circle people that she attracted. And look at this poor Blake. It's hard to say, poor Blake.
Poor Blake.
Was simpleton of a guy.
Yeah, really simple. Do you think there was any alcohol, drugs related in this world they're in? Because there was nothing, but like, how does she get up on stage and be like, sits down like this diva guru queen?
Thank you for getting to that, Stacey, because there's where you see the dysfunction. Emotionally stunted. She didn't show any emotion throughout this whole
none. No empathy either.
In the times when there was trauma or crisis in the inner circle, she's still that emotionless kind of Iron Curtain kind of person. There's a key indicator that there's something seriously wrong inside this person mentally. And those are things that I was picking up.
So, I mean, I think the three of us agree with that. Like, this woman has a heart of steel. Like, she's just, like you said, emotionless. I wonder how people like this, like, you know, cult leaders and other people maybe like her, like, is she a cult leader? Is she not? I still don't know, but it seems like, you know, walk like a duck, talk like a duck. It's a duck. But like these people, I think I get nervous because who's to stop them? Like, if she'll never get more help in her life, like, I believe she thinks she's the shit. Like, there is what I say goes. So yeah, tell me.
Dori, let me interrupt, because she even said that at the beginning of the docuseries. She says, yeah, I have the truth. I know how to live. And if you
but she also says the opposite.
World would be better.
She also says, I don't know all the answers.
Yeah.
She says both.
Such confusing. Well, she said that after she was confronted by, I think,
that was the private investigator. Yeah, that brought her.
Which, by the way, I had a different reaction to the private investigator than you two did, because I work with these people, and I have never in my being and in all my 2 or 3 years of work, I'm just kidding, 39, in my decades of work, I have never seen a private investigator like this lady. she seemed like somebody's grandmother that was doing this out of her house as a side hustle or something like that, you know. But they picked her, and I.
Sure. This is a Teal Swan inner circle pick. Now,
Yeah.
we also have to say, too, that she's managed by like a former tennis pro who managed tennis players as opposed to self-help gurus
Yeah.
or anything like that. So Matthias, her manager, is maybe he picked this
Yeah.
private investigator, but private investigator to debunk the fact that she, like, you know, essentially kills people because of their how she
Right.
deals with suicide.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a departure here because we didn't broadcast enough the fact that there has been deaths because of what she said. Because as you both hinted at in the opening when I was in the green room, her style is confronting the suicides. We're like, well, maybe it's a good idea for you to kill yourself. Well, you know, have you ever thought about what it would be like if you kill yourself?
If I was to ask you right now, what is it going to take for you to be happy in life? What's your answer?
Nothing. That's my problem. Nothing makes me happy. Like nothing.
And your truth is nothing's going to.
Yes, I think I'm not sure even what anything feels like at this point. I don't know what I'm feeling.
And why are you still here?
I really don't know. Why did I come up here? I don't know, because I'm trying to figure out, I'm really trying to figure out.
No, why?
That's the
I mean,
question.
why are you still here on the planet? It's like part of you is trying to find an answer and stay alive, and part of you is like, I'm just gonna take us out. Oh, look, here's another issue. Oh, look, here's another issue, until you die. People have a very understandable yet unnatural fear of death. You have somebody sitting in front of you that does not have a problem going to these places with you. Like when we're really facing that decision point, play out both sides. I'm literally saying go to the worst of the worst case scenarios and make your mind up. None of us are going to get out of this thing alive. So the question is, if you knew that, what would you do different? Thank you so much.
And statements like that, which are dangerous. And I had to take umbrage with also the investigator interviewed the president of the American Academy of Suicidology. This is a very important point. And again, I think it will inform our audience, our ethics in Pod Candy. She interviews the president of the American Academy of Suicidology, and he has the audacity to say that, well, yeah, there's a couple of people did commit suicide as a result of her influence, but given the millions of people that follow her, that's not a problem because of the ratio of people that, you know, are following her as opposed to those who took their lives. My God, buddy, as a doctor, I devote my life to nobody takes their life, you know, as a result of what you say. Not one single person. One person's life is precious. You know, not a ratio. And well, you know, millions of people follow her and only several have taken their lives as a result of her influence. So I guess she doesn't really cause people to take their life. She caused people to take their lives. It can be one, it can be two, it can be four. It's still wrong. That guy should step down as a result of stupid statements like that.
Another aspect of Teal Swan, as I did a little bit of other research, allegedly, like when you said one life, two lives, like she's an anti-vaxxer. So there goes there's people. So she's an anti-vaxxer, and I have to get the word right. She is a gender essentialist, which essentially she doesn't believe in non-binary, transgender human beings. So a lot of those people are very depressed as well. Does that mean when they have suicidal thoughts that she's just going to be like, oh, I don't look at you, I don't, just go ahead, let's do the practice of suicide and see
Yeah,
what
right.
happens?
Well, if you're conflicted, maybe the answer is just kill yourself. Then you won't be conflicted. That would be the Teal philosophy. Is that yeah, go kill yourself. Maybe that'll end your turmoil. But I think we took off on her sexuality for a minute, and we went into these tangents. And I have to also tell you in my clinical experience that when people, here's what brings me back to believing that she was raped and she was abused as a child, because the kids that I have dealt with that have been abused early on, and this is going to sound harsh and it's very sad, they learn early on that sexuality is very powerful. And they often grow up using sexuality in their relationships and become very sexual people. So maybe that led me, Dori, to not seeing the fact that this could be made up. Because in my clinical experience, and this is sad to say, is that the kids grow up and they become teens and young adults, and they are very sexual people like Teal Swan is. And so I was hook, line, and sinkered in the fact that she was raped at 6 years of age and abused.
Well, and it's also a manipulation of sexuality
Yeah.
too, as she's an adult, because we see that when Blake is speaking with her about his new relationship with Juliana. And I don't remember if Blake is caressing her leg, I believe. And I mean,
Yes.
it's obvious that Blake is absolutely 100% in love with her. And the fact that there's the manipulation, that she likes that. She wants everybody to sign in her inner circle, almost like, NDAs. If you bring somebody new, like if you start a relationship with somebody, which she doesn't want you to, but if you do, it has to be approved by her, because she feels that, everybody's after her. She's so public that everybody's after her. But that is her manipulation of these people like Blake. Like, I don't want you to have a relationship with anybody, but I don't like you, but I just want you around to
Right.
love me, and I'm not going to reciprocate that to you, but you loving me is fantastic.
Yeah, I have to agree with you completely. And this whole underlying sexual tone that maybe the documentarians weren't privy to, but I wonder if there was some group sex involved here, other kinds of kinky things that are going on. It just the docuseries just dripped of that there was some incestuous, kinky stuff going on. And, you could see that, as Dori pointed out. Blake is there with his wife, Juliana, and Blake is touching her thigh, near her genitals, in an affectionate way. And there again, look at the lack of emotion out of Teal. I mean, she's still this kind of ironclad, this guy's got his hand on my thigh, and, I'm just, like it's normal.
I
Really-
want to hear about Stacey, because Stacey likes a good thigh caress, right, Stacey?
Yeah, I was wondering if somebody could come over and caress my thigh. No, I thought that was disgusting how she just wants to hang on to everybody and hang on to this Blake guy, allow him to do, it's this, what is the psychological personality disorder that causes somebody to feel that they need this kind of attention and this kind of praise, and without any formal training? Like, how do you do this? Like, you just get up and say, I know. And she kind of talks in this sort of affected,
Well,
annoying.
It again, as we talked about a little earlier, there's a lot of damaged people out there that become leaders of other people. And it's like as I tell sometimes patients of mine, it's like the old saying, is a good brain surgeon somebody who went through brain surgery themselves? I don't want somebody to work on my brain as a surgeon because they had brain surgery. I'd be concerned about their cognitive abilities. So
yeah, you're right. We ask people.
She portrays herself as a leader and follow me because I went through all this trauma. I know what it's like. I can guide you through healing like I healed. Well, did she really heal? She's a freaking stone. She has very little emotion. It's been through 5 marriages. Hello. I'm not casting any aspersions in people who have had 5 marriages, but there's something wrong there when you have 5 marriages that you can't hold a relationship, and then has all these people fawning over her. But Stacey, back to your point about what kind of psychological condition is that, and I hate throwing out this term because it's so misused, but it's narcissism. There's a narcissistic individual that I know what the answer is because I went through this. And I can show you how not to go through this.
I don't like that know-it-all personality. Yeah. I don't like when people, try to convince somebody that what they're saying is not true and that there must be something deeper. That is so damaging to me. You know what I mean? Especially like with that guy, Amir, like, why are you here? I don't know. Well, why don't we talk about why instead of like collaborating, why don't we talk about why you're here? I mean, obviously it's not even close to being like a therapist, but I feel like she's feeding them what they want, what she wants them to say, and so that she can respond.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to get to this earlier when you mentioned something like this, Stacey, and that is, why do people follow? Because we're all looking for answers. And she goes out there, projects herself. I have the answer. I have the answer. So follow me because I know I can tell you what to do and how to do it. And people eat that up.
There was a guy during one of their retreats who spoke up against her, against Teal, asking if there's anybody she looked up to or anybody who was above her, because you can't, I don't know what the point was, what, like, you can't be completely infallible. Like there has to be somebody out there who knows more than you, right?
So, quick question. If you spend all your time calling people's BS, right, is there anyone out of the team that you would have enough respect for that they could challenge you?
It's a strange question. Why is that an important question?
Hmm?
Why? I should have someone above me.
Not above you. Like, who do you look up to
I don't look up to anyone.
And so I have resistance against that, if I'm being brutally honest.
Why? I should have someone above me. It's not going to happen.
Is that stubbornness?
I wouldn't be particularly aware if I wasn't able to recognize the potential of someone having more awareness than me. I have never met them. You seem to go into resistance about this. I want to know what it's about.
Yeah, I do feel that way.
Where is the sticking point with you?
I'm not here thinking that you have all the answers and they're all right. I'm expressing everything that comes up for me, every question, every challenge and opposition. But I also don't have to agree with everything that's being said by you. And nor should I by anyone else.
It would be the same if I went to the Dalai Lama today and I said, okay, but like you are in this place of like all-knowingness, but who's all-knowing for you? That's a challenge. The reality for you is you think there's an actual consequence for somebody not having a mentor. You're afraid of that consequence with me. So I would love if you would spell it out for us why I'm so safe if I don't have a mentor.
It concerns me that I look up to people and then I find out that they are not who I thought they were. Bikram, John of God.
It's an authority thing. I can misuse my power. I can do that, and I had better be aware of that. I could take my skills and I could ruin someone's life with them. I have to be aware of that, otherwise I'm not very safe, am I? I have no problem with people not following me if it's the right thing for them. But play a game with me. Pretend that I could round everyone up on the planet and we found who the fastest human was. And then you looked at the fastest human and said, you can't teach me running because you don't have someone faster than you. That's what you're doing to me. So is this really an argument about that, or is this an argument about the fact that you don't believe that that's me?
That was a weird thing.
Oh, weird.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they caught that on camera, right, Stacey? So, like,
yes.
And the response from Teal was so unemotional and angry. Like, I felt anger from her response of, no, I don't look to anybody else. I have all the answers, right, doctor?
I was dying for you to tell the audience what she said in response, because she said arrogantly, no, I don't look up to anybody else. It's me. I have all the answers. And again, we search for that in life. People come, look for any.
But I'm searching for an answer and I don't need to find her. I don't need religion. I don't need any of this
intelligent.
shit.
You're an intelligent person, Look at the people that followed her, and
Not according to my mom. She said, I'm finally smart. You're finally smart. I'm like, what? Thought I was smart before. Okay, anyway, keep going.
tell her it's her fault. It's your fault I'm not smart. That's genetics, sorry. But look at the people that are just, they're all puppy dogs. This Blake was a puppy dog. You two who are wonderful dog lovers should have, at that moment when Blake came into the docuseries, wasn't he just like a little lost puppy that she found and she could live in? He was so simple and so kind of cuddly and adorable and just kind of.
Everybody there can be manipulated.
Yeah.
All of those people that are under her, and they just kiss her ass. I mean, her tennis coach, the tennis coach, whatever, the tennis agent.
There.
So she was like, "Oh, I guess I'll hire him to run my." And like, why is she sleeping with him? Yeah, of course, he wants to fuck her, right? Like, why?
He's part of the
orgy. That's why it may. I think, like, we do pod candy about cults and true crime. Like, the question is this a cult? Well, her inner circle definitely seems like a cult. Maybe going out and speaking on her speaking engagements and having people, because she doesn't make people stay in her, she doesn't have like a commune or anything like that for people who pay to go see her. But her inner circle, the way that she acts, is like a cult leader.
Absolutely. There's no question. And even the private detective said that.
I have these various checklists that I'm using to try to figure out the whole accusation of cult behavior. There's two sets of ethics in a cult, one for the leadership and one for the followers.
I feel like the inner circle is very cultish. I feel like the outer circle is very self-help.
Right.
Because I wanted to be healed so much, I let myself be had by her. I mean, this tattoo is one that she recommended I get because I was lying to her. She said, she could read my thoughts and I was lying to her.
Wow.
That's when I began to question my childhood, my family. I thought my grandparents sexually abused me, my parents. Because you would go and just create all these stories and then you start to freak out. If that really happened, if this is my mind showing me this, and all these things, it just started getting worse and worse.
And I have to agree, even though I may have made fun to the private detective. And if you're listening, I apologize, but you do kind of look like a grandma. But the private investigator.
Is that an ad hominem commenting on somebody's? Anyway, keep going.
It's also okay that grandmas can go out and be grandmas. You can be grandmas and grandpas. You can be anything you want to be.
Even though all of us are under 40, there's no ageism here in Pod Candy. There's no ageism.
We are
no
way over 40.
Hey. Cut Jeremy.
What?
Cut that out of the
Yeah.
edit.
Speak for yourself. Just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding.
I want to get back to what the private detective said, which is that she said, my analysis is, which I agree with, the inner circle is a cult. And the Teal goes, oh dear. But what the public is involved in didn't seem like it had cult characteristics. And I have to agree. People could donate money, and like Dori said at the beginning, it's $5,000 to go on one of her retreats or completion retreats. Interesting.
How long is that retreat, and how many does she have?
It was a week.
I didn't get that in for.
It's
a week, and then it's $5,000, and then does she do this weekly? Is that how she makes her money, or does she do speaking engagements?
I think she does speaking engagements, but also her inner circle, they are not paid.
And
the assistant.
Remember that one guy said, I gave all my money.
Yeah, I gave all my money. And the assistant said that she's there for free room and board, but they don't make any money outside of that, which also made me question, how was Blake able to leave to go to Germany with Juliana if he has no money?
This is where I think the documentary could have been better, especially we didn't get enough information.
Yeah, I didn't get enough information.
The German family subsidized this whole thing.
I think they have money, the German
family. I also have to say too, I tried to look up Blake, and even on Reddit, there is no information about him or Julia, like what happened to them. Like I was like, and maybe I didn't read all of the responses on Reddit, but I was like going through just to find out where he is. I couldn't find one thing about him.
Maybe that's
just so
good.
You know.
Let him live his life, and let him, be at peace, after getting out of this whole thing. What a huge indictment for this whole Teal thing when her number one fan, best buddy, lifelong love partner, leaves the organization.
Why did they leave? So there was like this time frame, this like sort of, so did they leave because they talked to Molly, the private investigator, and Molly gave them information, and then they got together and decided to leave?
No, they left because remember, Teal was criticizing Juliana that you're not loyal anymore.
Yeah.
You are against me. You hate me. And remember when they went all around the room and people had to say why they didn't like Juliana and why Juliana wasn't part of the inner circle anymore. See,
you don't like Teal anymore.
Yeah,
you don't like Teal anymore.
Yeah. You're jealous of Teal, and you're not a Teal worshiper anymore.
By the way, Teal Swan's name is Mary Teal Bosworth.
Oh, really?
That's her real name.
Where did you get the swan from? I wonder where she got
I don't
the
know.
swan.
She was born on my grandmother's birthday, which is a little disappointing, June 16th. And I'm trying to, find out if there's any other, she was raised in Utah. And this telepathy thing, it's just really,
I could talk to the dead and everything when I was a child. You know what?
Yeah.
A lot of kids say that.
A lot of kids say that.
It's not common, but it doesn't make you mentally ill or, neurodivergent is the word. It's just like kids say that, I see things and, okay, let's ship
By the
them
way, did you guys both notice Teal when she was little kind of looked a little like a boy?
I thought that was going to be
What was that about?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about? Do you guys?
Parenting.
I don't.
There's crazy parents again.
Yeah, crazy parents, and also you said something about Dori, I believe, said something about LGBTQ and not being, you know, a supporter of, maybe it was more of a trans thing as opposed to a gay thing.
Like a non-binary. She believes in like where your genitalia, you're born with your genitalia.
It's not a belief. It's not a fucking belief. It's not a belief. Okay, I'm sorry. That just pisses me off.
Yeah.
No, I think we like when you get angry, Stacey.
Yeah, and she gets the authority to say this shit to people. These people are suffering.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked that she still has so many followers, that she is still like bigger and better than ever.
But
bigger and better than ever.
Let's go back to what works for her, which is that, you know, we go back to the beginning of our discussion here. She's almost got a hypnotic quality to her. Mm-hmm. You know, her YouTube videos are very, very alluring, and she's very easy to look at. Her eyes are compelling. And, you know,
and she's intelligent. She's not a
comes
dummy.
Across intelligent.
She comes across, she's a good speaker.
Yes. And there's a real hypnotic aspect to her, and soothing. It's like listening to, you know, McConaughey at night to fall asleep. You know, it's like he tells a story. What's his first name? Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey?
I don't know. I can't pronounce the name. Yeah, right.
But I like I wonder if Matthew McConaughey is if you're out there and if you're single, I'm interested.
There you go.
I asked this question earlier, just circling back to the drugs and alcohol. What do you think? Do you think anything was going on? Because there was nothing in the documentary. It didn't even look like they were drinking alcohol, but they stirred up some lemon mixture. And then when Juliana took a sip, you saw she was like, her face was like she ate a giant lemon and puckered, you know, and she was like, and they were like, this is delicious. This is so refreshing. What are they doing? Are they doing any drugs? I mean,
it could be. And again, I think this is the failure of the docuseries. You know, that's some information we needed. I think we needed some more information on their sexuality. I got a feeling there was group sex.
Oh, yeah. We didn't get a lot of that. It was, we didn't get NXIVM cult. It reminded me a little bit of the NXIVM cult.
Yeah.
Because weren't they tattooing people?
And
branding.
Then also they were branding.
Yogi. Yeah, so the branding is the NXIVM, and then the Yogi Bhajan, the other sort of guru people were following who's passed away. It's felt like a similarity. There's this similar arrogance of knowing things to people that and challenging them when they're struggling, that I really can't stand. And John, I know you're a therapist. You would never treat your clients that way. You know, so here's my rule of thumb. If somebody charges you $5,000 and then acts like that with no credentials, run, don't walk in the other direction.
Right, exactly.
Toward Dr. John Mayer or Dori.
Well, I think we need to wrap up. And how about a word for our audience as to what to watch out for with these people? What should we tell them?
Well, beware of anybody named Teal Swan. Just kidding.
That's good.
Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode when we will dive into the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. Our theme music is written and performed by Midnight Current. Check out more of their work on SoundCloud. For more about us and to catch up on every episode of Pod Candy, head over to podcandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.
Pod Candy!